Welcome to Wagner News.
The Supreme Court ruled in 1939 in a case called U.S. versus Miller that the Second Amendment only protects guns suitable for a well-regulated militia. The Newtown, Connecticut shooting in December 2012 reignited the debate on gun regulation. On December 14, 2012, Admin Lanza shot 20 children and 6 adult staff members in a mass murder at Sandy Hook Elementary School.
According to the Bill of Rights, the Second Amendment states that we have the right to bear arms. Should this amendment be regulated?
Several bills were proposed in the 2013 congressional session that bans the sale of semi-automatic firearms.
Here's what a few people have to say on this topic.
Do you think it's effective to talk about how to avoid gun violence?
Yes.
What type of discussions would benefit students?
I think that we have to have discussions that are particular to being in New York City, right? Because we really are anomalous in the United States, meaning New York City is very different from Houston or from Chicago or from Austin. We have our own particular parameters in reference to who has guns, why do they have guns, do people need to carry guns in New York City? If people do have guns, what is the purpose of them having these guns? How do they obtain the guns, etc.? So that the larger question is about gun violence, but the smaller questions are, why is gun violence occurring? How is it occurring? Who's got a hold of the things that make these things occur? Who are the victims, right? So there's a lot of little questions around the huge question, which need to be openly discussed and debated.
What do you think is the reason for the increase of gun crimes?
You know what, I can't even begin to define it, right? Because my field is psychology, so there's always violence in our culture. There has always been violence from the beginning of time, right? From the first caveman picked up a rock and hit it over the head of the other caveman. So I'm not certain what's just causing the rise in gun violence. I don't know what the cause is, but the effect is that there are more people who are frightened of guns, and there are more people who are moving away from guns. And they look at guns as something that is taboo, which certainly they are to a certain extent, but we need to figure out the answer to that, right? Why is it happening now? Why are people referring to or utilizing a weapon that can literally end somebody else's life? Why is society going to this extreme? I don't have an answer, but I think it really needs to be explored because it's a very dangerous thing. I don't know why people are looking at guns as opposed to fists. You know, like, what is happening? And it's frightening, whatever it is that's happening.
If a student were to come up to you and say they're very paranoid because of the excessive amount of gun crimes, what would be your response?
First, I'd bring it down, right? Because if we're talking about, I'm really paranoid about guns, it's such a huge cloud, and none of us can take a look at a huge cloud and make sense of it. So I would have to figure out why the student is particularly afraid of guns, right? What is the reason? What's the root cause? And rather than exploring this gigantic cloud, take a look at that specific thing that's going on with the student and addressing that, and then seeing what that's about and how we can help that person. So bringing it down.
How has the excessive use of guns affected how you perform your job today?
It really hasn't affected me much as my job duties. That has changed, but because we have a lot more responsibilities with being aware of, you know, how to spot somebody that's carrying a gun and just how to deal with emergency if it, you know, should ever happen with somebody bringing a gun into this building.
Do you think students are more likely to bring in a gun or a stranger?
I think students are more likely to bring in a gun.
What makes you say that?
Because it's a lot of bullying now. People are scared. You know, they want to defend themselves. There's a lot of robberies now. You know, phones do a lot. They're very expensive. Everybody wants one. It's the quickest way to get it. Steal it.